Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, a very different edition of Prime Sports World. As many of you know, we usually do our prediction shows on Tuesday. This will not be that show. We're going to talk a little bit about something near and dear to their heart here, as we just lost Christian. But Izzy, welcome to the show, man. CEO
What's going on, brother?
I'm David Huffman, the host of this show. Kristen Simpson should be jumping back in. But yeah, normally on Tuesday nights, Prime Sports World, we bring you our predictions. We break down Monday Night Football. We give out our game balls. Due to unfortunate circumstances that have played out Monday, we're not going to be doing that based on the fact that we need to send our prayers for Damar Hamlin, safety for the Buffalo Bills, who during that game at 8:55 on Monday night tackled T. Higgins and then collapsed. CPR was needed to be performed in order to get his heart back pumping, and an ambulance took him off the field. After that point, they basically said at one point they said 5 minutes to get back into the game. Basically, everybody went to the locker room. Class act all around by the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals, and really the fans here at the stadium, at Parkour Stadium there in Cincinnati. Class act all around. The NFL eventually made the call to cancel this game. The latest information on Damar Hamlin is that he's currently in a medically induced coma, as they put a feeding tube a breathing tube into him so he can breathe, because he's currently not breathing on his own. But his vitals have stabilized. The latest report is he suffered a cardiac arrest after the first quarter. That's what we know for right now. I'm in David Huffman, CEO of Prime Sports World. I'm joined from the Daily Blitz blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. And yes, this will be a very different show because this is more than a game when it comes to the health of a human being. Our thoughts and prayers out to Damar Hamlin. Just open up the floor as we try to get through this show to all of us together.
I get the chance to come on and talk this game with you guys Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays with Izzy when we do college football showdown. Man, I've loved this game since I was 6 years old. I've been absolutely honored to break it down for 12, almost 13 years as an NFL and college football analyst. I was fortunate enough to play for 3 years, and unfortunately, I had to stop playing because of an injury. But in all my years of watching football, I've never seen anything like this transpire. My heart sunk when I heard that they had to perform CPR on him, because at first I thought he was concussed. But when Joe Buck said that he needed CPR performed on him, I'm like, wow, this can't be real right now. And to be honest, when this happened, I didn't react as an analyst. I didn't react as a former player. I almost reacted as if I was a parent, and I know Izzy is a parent, and I can't even imagine what was running through his head, because all I could think of was his mom. No parent should ever have to witness their child experience that. Being a parent never stops. It doesn't matter how old your child is. And football just seems so minuscule right now compared to everything that we're talking about. I couldn't agree anymore with the name of this show, More Than a Game, because it truly is more than a game. Just love the way both teams came together, the way both coaches came together, because this is a life that we're talking about. We're not talking about a football player. We are talking about the life of a human being, a young man, 24 years old, who still has so much more to do. He hasn't even scratched the surface of what's to come yet. This is a dream for so many young men. And unfortunately, a lot of people's dreams became a slight nightmare because of what they saw on the field. I remember way before you guys met me in 2016, I was asked by a show I contributed for. I was asked, when I have kids, would I let my son play? And I said no, because I had to stop playing because I was injured. So, as a parent, why would I want that from my son? And yesterday, furthermore, just proved my point. All I could say is this, and I'm going to give the floor to Izzy. All I can say is this. We have to lift this kid in prayer right now. like, football right now is on the back burner. It's secondary, and props to the National Football League for discontinuing this football game, because if they had went on with this game, and let's say this young man unfortunately passes away last night, sometime today, the NFL would have had a whirlwind of problems on display at their door right now.
They're
Rodgers
still
probably
gonna
would
have
have
a
had.
whirlwind of problems.
Oh, it
They're
would have
still
been
gonna
on.
have they're still gonna have a whirlwind of
Yeah, they
problems.
still are. They still
They
are.
when it comes to, and I'll get this to my point, when it comes to the proper equipment, when it comes to player safety, the NFL has been on the hot seat for many years, especially with concussions. But when I look at these guys, these athletes out here, from back when, like when I was growing up, and back when like I used to play football back in the the 90s or the early 2000s, because I started playing back in like 1998 at 8 years old, all the way to I was a senior in high school. I tried out for a D1 football team, and we used to wear bigger. I used to have bigger shoulder pads, more padding here around the chest area. We used to wear thigh pads, knee pads, hip pads, tailbone pads, cups, the whole 9 yards. And these guys are not even wearing half of that stuff anymore. And they're out here running into each other. Another thing that I want to get into is at the youth level, right? This starts at the youth level. Damar Hamlin, went high for a tackle, right? Went high for a tackle, doesn't have the padding, and we need to get back to the fundamentals of football. I get back to this with the people that are teaching the youth at football. When you properly tackle, you square up, you hit at the hips, you wrap up, and you drive down. You don't hit high, you don't hit too low, because one, you can miss a tackle, and two, guys break through tackles. And then this is just unfortunate. This is like one out of you're talking about billion chances of this happening, David and Christian.
So what they think happened to him is, their heart got hit and jarred at just the right moment. It's called a comatose cordis. There are 30 of these a year in the entire world. And
that's insane.
It's just one of those freak accidents. Like it happens more in baseball actually than it does in football. But this is what they think happened. We're not going to speculate on this show because we don't know yet.
Right.
But obviously, I mean, this goes beyond just being a football game and football players. This is a human being whose life is maybe potentially forever changed because of this. And kudos to the NFL. Finally did the right thing. It took them forever to finally make that decision. Like when they kind of thought that they were gonna they're gonna take 5 minutes, they're gonna play, and then the players are like, no, we're not playing here tonight. And I think kudos to everybody involved, like Zach Taylor, Sean McDermott, class acts all around. They really handled themselves well.
I'm gonna say the last time I seen something like this, I think the only situation that I could kind of wrote is Hank Gathers from Loyola Marymount, and that was a basketball player. If everybody remembers, he's supposed to be a first-round pick, and he went up for an alley-oop, dunked it, came back down, and he collapsed right in the middle of the court. Or you can mention to the kid last year from Florida State that fell and collapsed, had a cardiac arrest as well, right? So you rarely see these. I mean, I've never seen it in football. I've seen it in basketball where it's just high end running up and down, crazy speed. Football, they take, small breaks in between plays. I've never seen this happen in football. I've never seen that at the magnitude of this. And that's why I bring up the equipment use. And that's why I bring up, we need more padding. We need better equipment. And when you add less equipment, less padding with the type of athletes that are the new generation of athletes that are training like pros from the time that they are like 10 years old to now, it's a scary game. And this is why I say football and the decline of people, kids letting their kids play football is declining in this country. And I think you'll see it to even decline even more over the next 20 years. And I think some of our best athletes will be playing other sports, but I do want to put out my prayers to Damar Hamlin and his family. Like I said, I really, I've been up all night. I was up all night last night because I couldn't sleep, man. I wanted to know what was going to happen with this kid, man. And I was up all night doing other things, and it really worried me. And as a father, I would be distraught right now if my son was going through this.
Yeah,
I think that's. Go ahead, Christian. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I echo your sentiments 100% completely, Izzy. I mean, I was up all night checking my phone left and right. Okay, what's going on with this kid now? What's happening with him now? I also want to tip my cap to the entire football community because it's current players, it's former players, it's Hall of Famers, it's you know journalists, it's NFL.
It's people even not even attached to the sport, like Kirk Franklin, who's a gospel singer. Like he put his prayers out for
Damar
Damar Hamlin
Hamlin.
too.
Yeah,
Like LeBron
absolutely.
James, like Clay Thompson had one of the best games of his career. But one of the first things he addressed during his press conference yesterday was the prayers for Damar Hamlin. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell scored 71 points.
71 points. Yes.
Nobody is even talking about that.
Right.
And rightfully so, man.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, rightfully so, but
rightfully so. But nah, man. Look, it's just great to see everybody come together to pull for him because this is what he needs. And I think I could probably say this on all of our behalves here at the Prime that his family needs to know that we're all behind him. Look, we may have different backgrounds at the end of the day. We may have different religious beliefs, different political beliefs. But at the end of the day, we're all one big family in this country. And this is when the country needs to come together. This is when family needs to come together. They need to link arms in solidarity. And, they need to put everything that they have going on to the side and think about Damar Hamlin.
And I think a lot of people have already done that. I mean, if you look at this toy fund, the fund for his toy drive, I mean, it had a goal set for $2,500. I don't know if you guys know what it's at now.
Yeah, $1 million.
No, it's not even close to $5 million. $5 million.
$5 million now?
$5 million.
Holy cow!
This article was published 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago.
Because I think
176,000 people have donated to this GoFundMe for his toy fund. You don't think that people are like, we're gonna raise them up, we're gonna
No, it's crazy that it's 5 million now because the last I think when I checked at 11 o'clock or 12 midnight, it was at $1 million. And so now you're talking about almost only 14 hours later or whatever, 7 o'clock p.m. where I'm at. It's at 5 million. That's incredible.
When I produced my show at 5, I by the way, I'm a television news producer, so I had to cover this in pretty extensively all day. It was probably one of the hardest days I've ever had in my life as a television news producer. Even harder than covering the hurricane stuff. It was rough. It was really really heavy on me. And it was at 4 million. So it's jumped millions since I got off work at 5:30. So
that's insane. And it's probably gonna double. It's probably gonna double by tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. Probably.
It's probably gonna double by tomorrow. One thing I want to kind of stress though, too. That I know you guys praised the NFL for stopping this, but I kind of want to praise Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott for actually putting their best foot forward and saying, no, we're going to go to the locker room and we're going to get our teams together and we're going to make a conscientious decision. And I think that propelled the league because the league was only going to have them warm up for about 10 minutes and then have them go back out there. It wasn't until Shaq Taylor and Sean McDermott said, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to take our guys to the locker room. We're going to make a conscientious decision and we're going to suspend this game. And that was on them. That wasn't on the league. The league was actually going to go forward with this game, which is, in my opinion, it's kind of embarrassing. In my opinion,
well,
just
I think in the league's defense, I mean, there is no precedent for this, and so I guess they were just following protocol at that point. There is no precedent for somebody if somebody almost passes away during a game. There's no rule in the book where it's oh, hey, we got to cancel the game now. No, I'm not trying to laugh, but there's no precedent. There's no protocol at all in place to how are we supposed to handle this? The rules are the rules, and we'll try to. And then the players were no. If you watch, I've never seen anything like that. Where players are just so distraught. At one point, Stephon Diggs was trying to rally the troops, and that worked for a few minutes. And then, as soon as the players sat back on the locker room, they started you just saw these dead stares on every single player on both sides of the team on the field. There was no way that they were going to be able to step back on this football field and play a football game that was not going to be a sloppy mess.
And this kid's a rookie. having an incredible year.
Second year.
By the way, is it second year?
Yeah, second year. Yeah.
Second year, having an incredible year, at safety. Due to the injuries at safety that they had, he actually became the starter at what, week 2,
Yep.
something like that, week 3.
Yeah, Micah Hyde got injured pretty early in this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's having an incredible year. He has over 90 tackles. I don't know if he's a Pro Bowl selection.
No, he wasn't.
This kid, he's not a Pro Bowl selection. This kid is having an incredible year as a 6th round pick out of Pittsburgh, may I say. And like I said, 24 years old. Forget the football career. I know you're playing your dream. He has a lot of life to experience, right? You're only 24 years old, man. You haven't experienced life yet. You're only just getting started as an adult at 24 years old, man.
On top of that, man, he comes from McKinsey Rocks in Pennsylvania. The median household income of that city is $22,000 a year.
Oh my goodness, man!
For a medium income for the household,
and that's like just outside of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a blue collar town.
Right.
Steel mill, just the hard hat, lunch pail type of town. People getting up, super early for 30-something years, in the cold, rain, sleet, snow, providing for their families at factory jobs. That's Pittsburgh in a nutshell. Hard, tough-nosed type of town, and he exemplifies that. And I think I truly, in my heart, I believe he's going to pull through this because he is Pittsburgh strong.
Yeah, and I think everybody's pulling for him. I think most of the reporting over the last 12 hours has been semi-positive. The fact that they were able to get that oxygen to him early, as soon as humanly possible, means that they could have avoided some serious, like when you lose oxygen to the brain, you kind of lose that brain function. But they got oxygen to him pretty fast. Started CPR really fast. And kudos to the NFL for having these protocols in place where they were able to, because we interviewed a doctor today. As part of our coverage, right? A doctor, I remember at Parkview, one of the hospitals here in the area, and basically he was like, this, like, outside of like already being in a hospital and having this happen to you, like being on an NFL football field and having that kind of medical personnel available immediately may have saved his life.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I think I will say, yeah, the NFL did have the right protocol in place for health and safety for this type of situation. I'm not sure that they planned it. I'm assuming they don't plan on it, but this is worst case scenario, and they showed that they got into action right away. They got the defibrillator. They actually have to use a defibrillator on the kid.
They did.
As well as CPR as well. You couldn't see it because everybody was huddled around it. There's a big circle around it. And that's why a lot of the guys were kind of distraught because they seen their brother down there laying lifeless, not breathing for 9 minutes.
Yeah, and look, Izzy, you play, and like when you play football, you build a brotherhood with your teammates, and like you said, when you see your brother down on the field, you can't help but be overcome with emotion. And look, seeing Josh Allen's look is what got me. Like the look on his face, and then just seeing he and Joe Burrow embrace, competition meant nothing at that point. It's the scariest thing that I think I've ever seen in watching sports. Like, I'm gonna take it back here. I saw Kevin Ware back in 2013 during March Madness when, he just fell.
His leg
bent the opposite way. And then I saw when Paul George injured his leg. But this right here, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. So now I guess I ask you guys as an analyst, what do you think the NFL does moving forward from here?
You know what? I have not a clue. I really do not know. I'm because they're talking about how they're just going to move forward with, so all the games for next week are still quote unquote scheduled to happen, but I just can't imagine they're going to have another football game until we find out what's going to happen with Damar Hamlin. I can't imagine anyone taking a football field. Like, I just can't. In the National Football League, I can't imagine a single team taking a football field knowing that they don't know if this kid is going to survive or not, because it's very much still up in the air. It's pretty touch and go. Like, it could go either way. As much as we're praying it doesn't go that way. I mean, it's the possibilities there.
Right. Man,
and if I'm the players association, Troy Vincent, if I'm the players, I'm gonna be like, yo, like, Roger Goodell, I know there's a lot of money and like involved, but like, we have to like just suspend the league until like everything is kind of copacetic again. Like, I don't even know how long that would even take.
And you know what, David? I'd be on board with that.
In a way, yes, I would too. I think that this game in particular, Christian, needs to be a tie. Even though I know the Cincinnati Bengals were up 7-3, or if Buffalo's just like, you know what, whatever, forfeit, we'll give you guys the win. I think Buffalo would be okay with that too. We'll give you guys the win, 7-3. But I think the NFL, like you said, I'd be on board with the NFL suspending the season. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to do that. Knowing the NFL, I don't think they're going to do that.
Or
I also doubt. Like, I want to be optimistic that the NFL is going to step in. I was being optimistic for a lot of last night too. Like, yeah, like for minutes and minutes and minutes, we're all in that group chat talking about this. Like, the NFL cannot allow this game to continue, and it was just like the players had to decide that they didn't want to play instead of the NFL stepping in. Like, we're not playing tonight.
No, I would have did the same thing, and I think what's going to happen this week. I think it's Tuesday. I'm pretty sure they've already been having these discussions. Owners, players, they're all players association, the league office. They're all having these discussions about about player safety and about next week and I'm sure Buffalo doesn't even want to play until they find out what's going on with Damar Hamlin. And so what are they going to do? Forfeit the next game, the Week 18 game? So you have to kind of put that into consideration too. So like Christian said, I'd be on board with them suspending the week, temporarily until this situation kind of gets handled. We know Damar Hamlin's in stable condition. I know he's in critical condition right now. And we kind of figure out what's going on, because it's not fair for Buffalo to go back out there and play another football game. Personally, I would say I want to just key in on Buffalo. They shouldn't go back out there and play football again.
I also think the Cincinnati's in the same boat. I mean, they were both on the football field together, like watching that, and like the camaraderie between those two teams, like when they all were surrounding Hamlin, like not allowing any of the ESPN cameras to even see what was going on. Like, it was like really one of those moments where players were like, yeah, this is bad. We need to make sure that nobody, respect for him, respect for his family. Like, we cannot allow these cameras to get anywhere near what's going on medically wise. And they all basically exposed themselves to this traumatic experience at will. And
Tyler Boyd, and what about and also Tyler Boyd? He's gonna have some I feel for Tyler. T. Higgins. I mean, I feel he's gonna have some psychological trauma after this a little bit, right?
I think so. It wasn't his fault. It was out of his control.
It was out of his control, but he was still involved. Like, he's gonna have some psychological trauma. Like, man, I was involved in a hit in a play that almost took a player's life, man. And that's gonna be hard for T. Higgins to kind of move forward with the rest of his life, quite frankly.
I'm not sure about all. I'm not totally sure about all that, but I do think it will have an impact on him. But at the end of the day, like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, he didn't
do anything wrong. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just saying, like, if I was involved in a play in which, like, I hit, I lowered my shoulder and I almost took a guy's life, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, do I how do I play this game anymore? Like, this game that I love, this game that I'm passionate about.
But I also think a lot of people are having that same conversation right now, even if they were not involved. Like, do I really want to continue playing in the National Football League knowing that what I just watched is something that is a reality for me?
Right.
Yeah, and we look at Tua We look at Tua, like, with the concussion thing.
I mean, but this is a much different. Like,
I know that. I'm just saying player safety in general, man. I mean,
yeah,
the concussions and everything, man. It's bad, man.
I also want to commemorate, like, if any of you guys watched ESPN after the broadcast, after the Monday Night Football broadcast went off the air, they pitched it to Scott Van Pelt and Ryan Clark. And Ryan Clark was so good and so captivating on TV last night. Like, he was like literally he was carrying because that entire broadcast. Like, Ryan Clark is so relatable because he went through that with the sickle cell after that game in Denver where he almost died, right? And then listen to Ryan Clark talk was he was just so compelling during that broadcast, and I just got to give it to Ryan Clark. It must have been really difficult for him to keep it together during that show because you saw like Adam Schefter, Boogie McFarland.
They were kind of running out of things to say. Yeah. They're kind of running out of things to say.
Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, like everybody that was involved in that broadcast, like after did an outstanding job of just keeping it classy, keeping themselves composed. Because I get working in TV, like I can't imagine what I would have done, right? Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And look, I know Booger McFarland gets a lot of flack here and there, but he was absolutely phenomenal last night. And another thing I say, like, a lot of those guys that you saw on TV last night, they weren't reporting as, professionals. These were parents. Like, this was real life flashing before their very eyes, unfortunately.
There's a video of Ryan Clark that's gone viral. If you haven't watched it, please just give yourself 2 minutes of your life. Watch that Ryan Clark video. He is so everything he said is so powerful. And this is not more than he's talking about. This is more than a game. This is about a human being. And we understand, when we watch football, we're supposed to be entertained, but these are human beings. Human beings.
Exactly.
And that trumps everything.
It does. Couldn't agree anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, for the people, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, the game should continue. The game should continue. I mean, no, the game should not continue. There are a lot of people on social media. There were like some media pundits that were saying, oh, the game should continue and all of this all this other stuff. And it's like, no, the game should not continue at all. And I know one of the bigger media pundits that kind of got some flack was Skip Bayless, and I think that tweet just got a little bit misconstrued a little bit. I believe the way as journalists we like to speak it in a rhetoric term, kind of speak it in context. I think he was kind of explaining, in context of those people saying that the game should continue, but he basically explaining that the game was the magnitude of the game was irrelevant because of the situation.
I also have a huge problem with, so me and Izzy are big fantasy football players. People that were complaining that the game didn't continue because of fantasy football. I'm sorry. Stop it.
Your fantasy team sucks.
Show some respect. Your fantasy team sucks anyways.
Show some respect. No. Listen, guys, there was worse because on my Twitter, somebody, I put, look, the NFL needs to end this game. There's no way that this can continue. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had the nerve to tell me I have the Bengals on a bet on my ticket, a 3.5 points, and I have rent due. And I just, I told them, can I say what I said?
Yeah, I know what you said. So
I know what you said.
Look, I'm like, look, with all due disrespect, fuck your rent. Fuck out of here.
That's real talk. Nah. I would have said the same thing, baby.
And here's the sad thing. You depended on a game to pay your rent. Your ass deserves to be evicted.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just quite sickening and disturbing from some people, from certain people, and shame on y'all for saying the game should continue. Oh, I have a parlay out on my fantasy team. Hey, man, that is irrelevant at this moment in junction.
I also something that also irks me, something fierce about this particular situation. People that want to use this as a political moment.
Of
Oh,
course,
I
I
know
get
where
a
you're
few
going,
throws
David.
here and there.
And I'm not even gonna bring it. I just that's all I'm gonna say.
I
Um,
know where you're going with that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad you. Yep.
like it,
Yeah.
it really, I was pretty mad last night actually.
Oh, I know. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. I
I'm
saw
like,
it.
yeah, like that was awful, like for real, like and what, like goddamn. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
like back to Damar Hamlin. Let's keep the focus on him. We want to keep our prayers for him. We're gonna try to get back to regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. We're gonna bring you the crossover tomorrow. Where we're gonna see what goes on with the National Football League. We're gonna bring you our Week 18 prediction show on Thursday this week. We're gonna try to keep the content going because we're Prime Sports World. We give you content every day. We bring you the heat. This is what we do. Like we cover the NFL. Like we're not gonna stop just because of this situation. So thank you very much for sticking with us at Prime Sports World. We appreciate it. But yeah, we're gonna try to keep the content rolling for you guys. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts, stuff you guys, anything you want to get off your chest as an
Um,
end piece here.
I know this is normally when I'm figuring out what I'm previewing, and I know what I'm gonna preview, but it just seems so not important right now. Not it's not what it normally is to me. Normally I'm excited. Oh man, I get to, go to my lab. I get to think of a creative title. I get to send it. I get to say shameless plug with David because that's been our thing the last couple years. But man, that's just so minuscule right now. And look,
Mm-hmm.
I think I say this on David's behalf, on Izzy's behalf, even my mom and everybody I know that's been following along with this. Everybody's been following along with this. Nah, like lift this kid up in your prayers. Think of this kid's mom right now. Like no parent should have to experience what Damar Hamlin's mom and family is going through right now, man. And most importantly, look, hug your loved ones. Tell somebody you love them today. Look, I love y'all, man. I really
Mm-hmm.
do, man. You guys pretty much, took me in 2020, and and the rest is history. I love getting a chance to work with you guys, and you guys have given me a reason to pretty much love radio again. So thank you for letting me be your analyst on the Prime and on College Football Showdown. It's more than appreciated.
Oh,
I think that's one of
our
the
pleasure.
one of the other things. So we were debating in our group chat like what to do, but like I feel like using this platform to get more people's eyeballs on Damar Hamlin, get more prayers out there, using our platform to have other people just send their thoughts, send their prayers for this kid because he's gonna need them, and this is why we have to run this show. It's gonna be difficult for us, but we have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of want to leave it up on this for my own sake. Damar Hamlin's an incredible individual. He's a guy that has given back to his community. He's a young guy that's worked hard. He's lived out his dream, making it to the NFL. He's provided for his family, and he's played the game that he's loved. And like Christian said, and like David said, and like I'm saying, uh, extend your prayers out to his family and to Damar Hamlin just to make it through. Because, like I said, football is just a game. His life is not. And he has a lot of life to experience only at the age of 24. And what I would like to see, and to kind of reiterate kind of what we were saying earlier, I would definitely like to see the NFL just suspend the season for a week. Don't play week 18 and
Yeah,
until
yeah,
next week to pay homage
yeah.
to
Push
Damar
this back.
Hamlin, to your, because this is a brotherhood at the end of the day. Your football community. It's not just the Buffalo Bills, not just the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the NFL as a whole. And I feel like the NFL as a whole needs to pay homage, pay respects. Take a break off, take a break, and just kind of keep this kid in their prayers, keep everything in perspective. Go. Be with your loved ones, and just kind of get your mind right after this. And I think the NFL needs to suspend the league for at least 1 week, and then restart everything as we get more reports in from the market.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore.
I could not have said that better myself, dude. That is a perfect way to wrap up this show. Thank you very much for watching us. If you took the time to watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter, we really do appreciate it here at Prime Sports World. We do bring the heat, and we bring you episodes every single day covering the NFL and basketball and college football. But this is one of those moments where this is more than a game. This is something much bigger than just a game. So thank you very much for watching the show. We're not going to do the usual goodbye. We're just going to be, I'm David Huffman, there's Israel Rivera, and there's Christian Simpson from the DailyBlitz.blog. Thank you very much for joining us, all three of us. We will be back here tomorrow doing the crossover. Thank you. And good night.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
And tell your loved ones you love them, for real.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.